Living for the future is, in truth, the indefinite postponement of life. Most of us believe in this idea, as if the thing we're truly responsible for, the thing we're meant to live for, is the future. As if today exists only to serve tomorrow's construction. And when we say something has no future, we instantly label it as worthless. In the Western world, this way of thinking is rarely questioned. Time is expected to move forward, and we believe we must rise with it. But now, let's contrast this belief with a Hindu or Buddhist view. In Eastern cultures, time is perceived as circular. They believe that as time passes, everything unravels, dissolves, fades away. And so, to expect hope from the future is, in their eyes, naive. They would ask us, what exactly are you waiting for in the future? Don't you see that every organism, every structure, every species eventually decays? Some dissolve quickly, some slowly. But the end is inevitable. Just like individuals perish, so do entire species. Everything that forms is destined to fall apart. And they would ask again, why do you see time as a staircase, as if it's a line that rises endlessly? Like a successful business graph you're chasing upward? Look at your clock. It's round, isn't it? Even the very device you use to measure time is circular. Look at the cosmos. Stars, planets, galaxies. They're all spinning. Everything moves in circles. Nothing is really going somewhere. And when we hear that, we reply, oh, you poor Hindus, you lack technology. Your economy is weak. Many of you live in poverty. That's why you're so pessimistic. But they only laugh. Because to them, it's not pessimism. They say, we know it's all a game. We don't fool ourselves. We know who we are. But you Westerners, you run around endlessly, poking your noses into everything. You're so uncertain about your own beliefs that you need to convince the whole world to agree with you. And then they add, laughing, living for the future just brings more chaos. You trap yourselves in history. You live inside an illusion of progress. And that brings us to a very important point. History. I've had fascinating conversations with Eastern thinkers. To them, history holds little importance. Life is seen as a cycle. One year is not much different from the next. Birth and death, leaders and revolutions. They all come and go in repeating rhythms. But we, in the West, seek progression. And to speak of progress, we must first know where we're going. Most people don't. If we're truly advancing, we must answer two fundamental questions. First, what do we really want? Second, who do we believe we are? If I answer this as a thinking human being, I'd say, the most valuable thing I've always had is the simple fact that I am a manifestation of existence itself, just like everyone else. That truth can't be erased. Then come the basics. Food, friendship, love. Sometimes music, sometimes dance. All the things that give color to life, and those things are reachable. But here's what I've noticed. Many people who have the power to attain these basics, especially the wealthy and successful, have none of them. Those who are constantly active in business seem to be the most miserable. Let's say you're the top executive of a major company. You spend nearly your entire day buried in paperwork. You read, you sign, you decide, but always on paper. You might be the CEO of an oil company, yet you've never actually touched oil. Just numbers, reports, and stress-filled files. Most of the time, you walk around sterile office buildings under artificial lights, wearing gray suits. I once attended such a meeting, a boardroom lunch at a major oil corporation. And the food? Like a college cafeteria. No elegance, no joy, just quiet bites of ordinary meals. And yet these men call themselves realists. There's no room for emotion. Feelings are seen as weakness. But as McLuhan once said, that kind of emotional suppression can be deadlier than bullets in war. Because these men never questioned the very thing they've spent their lives chasing. The future. Yes, the future. A vague idea to which they've sacrificed their present lives. And what do they have to show for it? Money, more money, and a desire for even more. But they don't know what to do with it. So they keep investing, expanding, pushing. And at night, they try to drown the emptiness in alcohol or pills. They've become completely detached from reality, yet they're still labeled as successful, when in truth, they're merely being consumed by abstract ideas. Just think about it. The US Congress passes a law banning the burning of the American flag, and the same lawmakers allow the very country the flag represents to be polluted and exploited. The rivers are poisoned, the air is toxic, the land is depleted. But the symbol, the flag, is sacred. They try to save the symbol while the reality collapses. And that's why living with blind devotion to the future leads to destruction. Because people who don't know what they want misuse everything, including technology, clocks, tools, plans. Yes, they can be useful, but only to those who are fully present now. If you can't connect with today, no plan will ever make sense. Because life only exists now. Life doesn't wait for the right moment to begin. So why should you? Start now. Stop waiting. Live today. Truly live. What are you waiting for? Even our education trains us to wait. First grade, second grade, third grade. Eventually, you graduate, but you're still climbing the stairs, and one day you reach the top and realize there's nowhere else to go. And suddenly, it hits you. You've been postponing life all along, and now finally it's time to live. But this time, not for the future, for today. We were never taught to live in the now. We were always told to prepare for what's ahead, and we accepted it. A salesman comes to your door and says, "Listen, I've got the perfect retirement plan. When you're 65, you'll leave the system and finally enjoy life. Sure, with a little prostate trouble, menopause, and a full set of dentures. Still, we think it's worth the wait. Our schools don't teach us the art of presence, because we see it as lazy, even reckless. But it's not. It's essential. Because a person who doesn't know how to enjoy the present becomes a burden to themselves and everyone around them. They grow bitter, aggressive, controlling. They try to dominate the world. But all they're really missing is the quiet, effortless beauty of now. When you really think about it, human life isn't that complicated to sustain. A bit of food, a simple shelter, a few pieces of clothing, that's all. What we truly need is actually very simple. And the simpler life becomes, the more capacity we gain to find joy in even the smallest things. Like watching a raindrop slide down a window, carefully following its slow descent. To many, this moment might seem pointless, because the system tells us, is that what you're doing? Can't you find something more important? Be productive, advance, stay busy. But in truth, these underestimated moments are the very essence of life. That raindrop you're watching is a way to understand life. And the mindset that can't grasp this is the same mindset causing chaos in today's world. Because they believe a person is only valuable when they're changing something, improving something, pushing something forward. They confuse growth with progress. But sometimes, doing nothing, just observing, is the most human thing you can do. So let me ask you this. If you're not constantly involved in a project, a task, or a plan, does that make you useless? Maybe to the system, but to life itself? Absolutely not. Because sacrificing the present for the sake of the future is insanity. Someone from the East might explain it this way. If you live constantly thinking about the future, you've lost your mind. Some societies have a different approach. For example, certain Chinese workers will work just enough to get by, then stop. They'll sit back, relax, gamble, smoke opium, or simply watch life go by. We call that irresponsible. But what if that is the true responsibility? What if our obsession with progress is what's destroying the planet? What if this constant urge to move forward, to control everything, is the very thing ruining the Earth? Have you ever thought of that? Of course, we've had some successes. We've cured diseases. We've extended lifespans. But do you know where this path ultimately leads? To a bomb powerful enough to wipe it all away. Because the truth is, we don't know what we want. We keep making promises to ourselves that better days are coming. But we never truly live that day. Even our money is a promise. This piece of paper guarantees $1. But if you try to redeem it and say, "Give me what this dollar is worth," what do they give you? Nothing. Just another promise, another symbol. And this is why we can't connect with indigenous cultures around the world. Amazonian tribes, African communities, some Mexican villages. They don't want the developed lifestyle we're selling, and we don't understand why. But some countries fell into our trap. Take Japan, for example. They admired the Western way of life, and now Tokyo, Osaka, Kobe, all in chaos. Air pollution, concrete jungles, exhausted people. Yet they still believe they're living for the future. But Indian philosophy says, over time, everything moves toward destruction. Every era is worse than the one before, which means step out of time, get off the wheel, break free from samsara, because the future is just an illusion. That's why I speak of a politics of deviation, a path that diverts us from history, from endless narratives of progress, that lifts us out of linear time and invites us into a way of living that exists beyond time. Because that way is more peaceful and more real. This isn't about rejecting technology. On the contrary, if used wisely, technology could eliminate poverty. But we must apply it with present awareness, not through the lens of past or future. Otherwise, it becomes useless. Because the real issue isn't technical. It's psychological. We could share wealth, but we're obsessed with the symbol of wealth, money. We confuse money with gold, as if the symbol itself holds value. Ramakrishna once said that gold was one of the evils of this world. Perhaps he said it unconsciously, but it was deeply true. There's a story. At one point, banks grew tired of constantly shipping gold from country to country. So they agreed to store it all on a single island and simply record transactions in their books. For 10 years, everything ran smoothly. Then one day, the banker's children said, "Daddy, we want to see the gold." The managers hesitated, made excuses. Eventually, they confessed. 7 years earlier, a massive earthquake swallowed all the gold underground. But they said, "Don't worry. We know how much gold we had back then. We've been keeping the records accurate ever since." It was a joke, but a joke that reveals a deeper truth. Money is just bookkeeping, and we've become so attached to these symbols that we've blocked the flow of real wealth. Today, people are dying of hunger in some parts of the world, while in others, food is burned or thrown away. This is madness, but it all stems from one illusion, the future. And this Maya, this illusion, will never satisfy you, because you'll always be chasing the next step. There will always be a later, and even when that later arrives, it still won't be enough. You'll remain like a donkey chasing a carrot tied to a stick around its neck. But real life is not at the end of that stick. Real life is right now. And the moment you say, "now," that is the moment you finally begin to live.